he sang, but he wasn't singing like, he did with the Dominos. They didn't make that transition yet.
He sang You See, but not the way he did when he was in the Dominos. He hadn't yet crossed that line. Bobby Whitlock, co-founder of Derek and the Dominos, and also one of Eric Clapton's most significant songwriting collaborators, has died at his residence in Texas. We have learned today that the keyboardist and singer who contributed to forming one of the most legendary blues rock bands of the 1970s passed away. Whitlock, together with Clapton, formed Derek and the Dominos in 1970. He died at 77 years old. Soon after the news had been made public, Clapton ended years of silence about their relationship, which unleashed an intense storm of media attention among music fans. This report was not merely the unfortunate death of a giant artist, but also symbolically a closure of an historic era connected with the mythical album Layla and other assorted love songs. Having worked together in songwriting and performance for over 5 decades, their complicated and sometimes violent past started unfolding its secrets, which were kept hidden until this point. Clapton described Whitlock's death as an irreparable loss. When the news was made official, Clapton turned to his personal site, stating that Whitlock had been a close friend and sending his regards. "I will miss his voice and spirit always. We had unforgettable times," he highlighted. The brief but sincere tribute followed hours of silence, largely ending a very long time where Clapton would not often comment publicly on his ex-bandmates from Derek and the Dominos. Whitlock's death shattered that pattern. A close source reports that Clapton had kept close tabs on Whitlock's health in the final weeks of his life. Though the two men hadn't collaborated musically on anything in years, they still kept in touch regularly with private phone calls. Clapton recalled how far Whitlock had traveled, from the early years at Stax to co-founding the Dominos. "We went through the best and the worst together, and I'm always proud to have Bobby by my side," he said. Their journey began in the late 1960s during touring days with Delaney and Bonnie, where they discovered a rare musical chemistry that would later fuel Derek and the Dominos. The partnership merged Clapton's soulful guitar work with Whitlock's rich, resonant vocals and Hammond organ playing. Epic songs such as Bell Bottom Blues and Why Does Love Gotta Be So Sad came out of work sessions where ideas just kept coming, and the songs were even finished in a matter of a few days. It was this combination that provided the basis for Layla and other assorted love songs, one of Clapton's finest albums. However, tensions started to rise while recording. Whitlock and Clapton conflicted on artistic direction, and with the arrival of Duane Allman, the dynamics in the band changed again, new inspiration, but also more internal tensions. Long, grueling sessions and never-ending schedules further exacerbated the tension, resulting in a stressful environment in the studio. In spite of this, the music that emerged was nothing short of phenomenal. But once Layla had been completed, Clapton and Whitlock's relationship was again put through the ringer. On stage, their chemistry was still impossible to deny, but off stage, money worries, touring weariness, and personal problems started to affect them. Members of the band remember constant arguing between the two, usually over song choice and structure. Despite this, they managed to keep their partnership going long enough to finish their tour and some unfinished works. When Derek and the Dominos disbanded, Whitlock made the controversial decision to sell the royalties for the songs he had co-written. Years later, Clapton ensured Whitlock received financial support, with Whitlock acknowledging, "Eric made sure I was never left out." This mutual respect endured despite their earlier conflicts. It was in the early 2000s that the fans were given the chance to witness a rare reunion when the two guested on Later with Jools Holland, performing Bell Bottom Blues with the same chemistry they had showcased in their early work, a testimony that they could put aside differences to share a stage again. In the subsequent years, they maintained a connection through the occasional meeting and offstage conversations. They no longer recorded or wrote together, yet the relationship between them held up. This shared bond provided Clapton's public expressions of sympathy with a special intensity. Whitlock and Clapton's teaming is one of the most characteristic rock partnerships of the decade. Whitlock added depth, soul, and warmth to the music of Clapton, and their different personalities, Clapton's reserved introspection versus Whitlock's adventurous, lively energy, were perfectly balanced until the pressure of the job tore them apart. Their mutual history, from meeting for the first time, to forming the band, to the long, intense creative sessions, the breakup, and the occasional reunions, is one of mutual respect and conflict. Clapton's eagerness to speak out now is testament to the fact that earlier tensions never destroyed the importance of what they created together. Bobby Whitlock got his musical career started in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1948. Growing up in a poor family, he was immersed in the city's lively blues, soul, and gospel communities. It all came together when he signed with Stax Records, its first white artist, through its funky subsidiary label. His early work was humble, like adding hand claps to Sam and Dave's I Thank You, but it led into the music industry. Whitlock learned from some of Memphis's best musicians and producers at Stax. What he gained there was harmony, rhythm, and how to plan a successful recording session. It was on the Hammond organ that he started to establish his distinct style, an instrument with which his career would become identified. In 1968, he departed from Memphis to Los Angeles, where he became a member of Delaney and Bonnie and assumed more responsibilities as a lead vocalist, organist, and songwriter. It was also in this period that he met Clapton in 1969 when they toured Europe together, solidifying the musical collaboration that would shape both their careers. These experiences enabled Whitlock to broaden his contacts within the Anglo-American music circles and establish himself as a versatile musician. In 1970, when Clapton was looking for a new path following his blind faith endeavor, Clapton and Whitlock started working closely together. With Carl Rattle and Jim Gordon, they became Derek and the Dominos. Whitlock infused the band with his Memphis soul and experience playing with powerhouse groups such as Delaney and Bonnie. The pairing of Whitlock and Clapton's playing styles crafted the Dominos' distinctive sound, powerful and soulful. Whitlock was not only an organist and supporting vocalist, he also co-wrote some of the group's most significant songs, including lyrics and melodies. These elements contributed to the group's identity and differentiated the Dominos from other blues rock groups of the era. Numerous colleagues have gone on record stating that it was the combination of Clapton's blues and Whitlock's soul that made the group so inviting. During the recording sessions, Whitlock usually played full, deep chords that lay under Clapton's guitar. His harmonic singing complemented the lead vocals, producing full-bodied recordings. Members of Domino who remember this era confirm that Whitlock helped keep the musical balance of the group intact. The performance of Whitlock on stage set up a lively mood. He sang many lead vocals, demonstrating his capability to coexist with Clapton as a musical equal. To the audiences of the period, Whitlock was more than Clapton's organist, but rather a separate musical entity. Whitlock's career was one of continual growth, from Memphis, then Los Angeles, to London and Miami. Each transition exposed him to experience and the chance to work with large artists. His friendship with Clapton was founded on common respect and a love of blues and soul, not celebrity. The Domino's development phase also witnessed Whitlock arrive at one of his artistic highs. Sessions with the other musicians and Clapton were continuous, and numerous tracks were completed in the studio. The peer group environment, tense at times, created music that would soon become timeless classics. Whitlock arrived at Domino's with a solid foundation in Stax's and Delaney and Bonnie, and he brought with him songwriting talent, multi-instrumental capacity, and a dynamic performing style. This extensive preparation is the reason why he was soon an irreplaceable member of the band. From the Stax claps to center stage with Derek and the Dominos, Bobby Whitlock's career is a tale of an artist who rolled the dice and played by experience. It was this path that prepped him for the most significant writing and recording phase of his career, the album Layla and other assorted love songs that left an indelible impression on music history. Whitlock's death also brought attention to Derek and the Dominos, a group that, for its brief lifespan, left an enormous musical heritage. Music fans and historians have flocked to social media and online forums to post memories, obscure recordings, and anecdotal information pertaining to the band. Others posted vintage interviews where Whitlock and Clapton spoke about one another, occasionally with admiration, occasionally with resentment. It is these complex statements that have given their relationship such intrigue to the masses. Speaking in one of his final interviews, Whitlock looked back on his days with Clapton, stating, "We were young, we were driven, and we wanted to make something no one had heard before. I think we succeeded." This really captures the essence of their journey together in one simple yet profound statement. Clapton, in turn, has never denied the influence of Whitlock on Domino's sound. Even in his autobiography, in which he hardly ever details fellow musicians, Clapton mentioned Whitlock emphatically, complimenting him on his songwriting and the feeling he contributed to their music. Bobby Whitlock's death is the end of an era for people who were brought up with Layla and other classic songs. The emotional response of Clapton and the fans' outpouring of affection evidence just how profound Whitlock's impact on the rock and blues world was. It was a tale of harmony and discord, of exceptional music spawned both from concord and contention. It was that combination that created the distinctive sound of Derek and the Dominos, a sound still enjoyed by listeners today. Tributes inundated Whitlock in the days that followed his death from fellow artists, critics, and longtime fans. Many emphasized that though Clapton's name tended to dominate Whitlock's, the band's chemistry would have been different without him. His unique Hammond organ sound and harmonies rich with emotion added depth to songs that became the group's hallmark. Others praised Whitlock's versatility, not only as a keyboardist, but also as a guitarist, vocalist, and songwriter. He was able to match Clapton's guitar-driven passion with equally ardent vocals, a quality that is less common than one might think and helped lift the band's performances higher. Even after Derek and the Dominos broke up, Whitlock still recorded solo records, although none were as commercially successful as what he did with Clapton. Nonetheless, those who kept tabs on his career enjoyed his raw, unfiltered style of music making. One of the most heartbreaking moments was perhaps when Clapton, in a recent show, dedicated Bell Bottom Blues to Whitlock. The crowd, knowing the dedication, applauded not solely for the song itself, but for the recognition of a collaboration that had written rock history. Clapton, visibly moved, played the song with a sincerity that implied it was other than just another song on the playlist. Bobby Whitlock's passing is not merely the loss of a gifted musician, but also a reminder of the ephemeral yet forceful partnerships that make their mark on the annals of music history. His name will always be associated with Eric Clapton and Derek and the Dominos, not merely for their joint success, but because of the intricate human history behind it.